Hi everyone, welcome back to the Candidly show. Something a little different. I decided I'm not going to start with my usual music today because I just don't feel like it suits the topic. So we're not starting with the live and the fun music this week. I felt like we'll just have something a little somber today. But how is everybody doing? Is everyone good today? Okay, so let me go in the chat. Let me put my notepad down for 1 second so I can check the chat and I can say hey to everybody. And once again, as per usual, I can't see how many people are in the house. Wonderful streamer, thank you so much. But I see on my laptop there's 10 wonderful people in the house. Thank you guys so much. Please don't forget to hit the thumbs up. Okay, let's go to the top. Hey Fifi. Hey Mia. Hey Real. Hey, it's all hot air to Erica and Andrea. But I'm assuming it's Andrea because everyone's saying hey Andrea. Okay. Nick's here. One of my guests are here in the house. Shanita Marie Randomly's here. Hey boo. Robin 101 is here. Okay. I got everybody here. My family's here. Haitian, you ain't like girl. I just started. So you are well on time, honey. Well on time. So hey QT. Hey Apostle. Thank you guys so much for joining me. Guys, thank you for sharing me out. If you can share me out, please do so. Let's hit those thumbs. Let's get some more people in the house. My mods will be watching the chat as per usual. You already know what they do. Hey Sunflower Lady. Hey. Okay, so a quick couple of announcements. You know, my usual announcements. Playlist of the week. So this week, last week it was Being Isaac's mommy, and I played her, and she was very, very happy. And this week, I have decided to pick Apostle Edgar Kapanga as the winner of the playlist week. He has been super crazy supportive. He shares me out. He comes and he's joining every single live. He comes to both my lives. And I just want to say thank you so much. I really appreciate you, Apostle. You've shown to yourself to be a true supporter, and I just want to help you get some hours. So I'm going to pick your playlist this week, and I'll usually run it on a Wednesday, okay? So you'll see me in your comment section somewhere on Wednesday letting you know I am running you. Okay, guys, it is official. I can announce it. I announced it on Shanita's live on Monday, but I'm going to announce it on my channel today that Battle of the Sexes is an absolute definite thing happening every single Sunday on my channel. My panel have agreed that they will be available to have some fun and battle it out every single Sunday. So that is definitely happening. It's definitely a thing. It's gonna be every week. So you guys have that to look forward to on Sunday. Sundays are gonna be nice and popping, and there's gonna be some changes this Sunday. So I hope you guys enjoy it. We're working on stuff. Me and my amazing team and panel are working on some things for you guys. So I hope you guys enjoy Sunday. My Life is Leah has a video premiere next week. Please, guys, if you can right now, one of my mods, please drop her link to her video that she is releasing tomorrow. Guys, hit that reminder bell for me, please, and join her tomorrow at 4 p.m. CST time for her video premiere. I really, really, really appreciate you guys. And also, Donizi TV goes live tomorrow at 5 p.m. CST as well. And it's usually a fun time. We're always drinking, having a good time in there. So definitely check out Donizi's live tomorrow night. So I believe my guests are both in the house. So we are going to get this started. I'm going to drop the link for my guests and get them up here with me. Guys, are you guys ready for today's topic? It's a heavy one, huh? Y'all wasn't expecting me to drop a heavy topic on you guys. You probably thought I was going to come with another relationship topic this week, but nah. I got to change it up on Thursdays. Thursdays, I got to discuss every and anything. Okay, so who have I missed that came in the house? Hey, Miss Purple. Hey, AQ. Welcome, welcome, welcome. And I think I saw another name. ST King, hey, welcome, guys. Welcome to my live stream. I hope you guys get something out of tonight. My guests, so to Stacey and to Neek, you guys feel free to click on the link and come on up and join me. Oh, it's a heavy topic tonight, guys. It's a heavy topic. It's gonna be a hard one, but we're gonna get through this together. Yes, like Robin said, just a quick reminder, no caps, no numbers, 2 emojis, and that is it. They will be moderating. Yes. Oh, thank you, Robin. Thank you, Nia. Thank you, Shanita. Big Nate.
Hey!
Oh, she looks so pretty.
Oh, thank you.
Girls know how to. Us Texas girls know how to look.
Stop.
Oh, I love it. Ah, Shanita, darling, where you at? I'm trying to see if she is in the chat.
She was in there earlier.
She was in there. I saw that she was in there. But I don't know what happened. I don't know if she's still in there. Because I want to get started. Okay, so whilst we're waiting on my other guest, let's get started with you, Neek. Okay, wait, hold on, guys. I've got to tell you guys something. I have to tell you guys something, okay? And so this week, I had a completely different show planned for you guys, and it fell through like a day ago. And I was like frantically going absolutely crazy trying to figure out what am I going to do today. And I had to hit my girl up, Neek, and be like, Neek, please, I need you to save me. And she agreed, like last minute. I hate doing that to people. Like I like things to be planned out ahead of time. I don't like to be the last minute type person to be hitting people up like that. So I'm just so grateful that Neek came and she agreed.
Yeah. Things happen, right?
Things happen, girl. Mm-hmm. Yes, they happen whether we like them or not. Unfortunately. Right. So, okay, Nita, get Stacey to click the link. Oh, technical issues. Okay, that's fine. Oh. Hey, Tribal Knowledge. Welcome. Welcome to the house, honey. Okay, so, Neek, tell everybody a little bit about you and about your channel. She is a content creator, guys.
Okay, hi, everyone. I'm Neek. I'm in Dallas, Texas. Started my YouTube channel to show the building process of my house, which is why I'm here on the balcony of this box. Trying to get through and,
you got this, girl.
and move in. But yeah, my content is going to be lifestyle. It's going to be like cook with me, clean with me, shop with me. I will vlog every week. I do brunch with my friends. So I will do like a vlog for Sunday, Monday, and that's the gist of it. Oh, and I do car rents on weekdays.
Listen, guys, every single day, let me tell you something. Like, if Nick don't post her motivational card ride, I'm like, what's going on? I need it every day, guys. Every day, she comes through with those motivational talks every morning. I love it. But guys, you always hear me talk about my family. Neek is a part of my family. Y'all don't see her all the time. She's usually in the comment section, but she is a part of my family, my YouTube family that I talk so highly of. Okay, she's a sister. We love her. Okay,
so I love you guys too.
Okay, they having technical difficulties. I couldn't add. So Shanita, I couldn't add it. For some strange reason, it was coming through with like no video, nothing. It wasn't letting me add to the stream. So I don't know. You may have to use your phone. Sorry. Okay. So, Neek, you've been very open, and you've made a whole video about you handling and dealing with depression.
Yes.
So that's tonight's topic: mental health and depression. So I just want to hear. Okay, so let's go back because I got some questions specifically that I wanted you to answer. So whilst they're figuring out what they need to,
Okay.
I should have put an N next to all these damn questions. I don't know why I was. But okay, so when did you realize that you was dealing with depression?
I believe it was it was in my first marriage because I was living a life like a fake life. I was not myself. Um, so it made me sad because I couldn't do a lot of things that I wanted to do because I thought that it would go against my beliefs at the time and it would upset, people who love me and are close to me. And
Mm-hmm.
so I made the choice to be someone I'm not to appease everyone around me. And it just ultimately made me empty inside, right? And just sad. And then you go to looking for happiness and other things. I try to find happiness in my church, in my religion, in my friends, and just try to figure this thing out. And it that was like a snowball effect because it never got better, right? Because you have to search within, but I was looking everywhere around me to just fulfill a void, instead of looking within. So it just started like a snowball effect. And, I had to seek counseling. I was like researching, on Google for therapists, just so I can have someone outside of my network to speak to someone that's oh, okay, someone who is biased.
Oh,
But and
you frozen?
that let me get
You guys hear me?
I hear like feedback in
Okay. Stacey, you playing or is Shanita next to you with Xbox?
the
They have to mute
mute.
it.
He's like, look
We're
at
all
this.
like, guys, we're gonna get through the technical difficulties. It happens every week. Hey, Shanita. She said,
Can't need it. Does everyone else hear?
can you guys hear it? Yeah, they're saying it's choppy.
Oh, okay. So I'll stop talking until they press mute the mute.
Yeah, I don't know why it's coming. I don't know why it's giving feedback. Hello? I think
I think she hit mute, but not the camera.
Oh my God.
she said, oh my God. Yeah, we need technical difficulties, guys. We're gonna figure it out. Give us a second. We're gonna figure it out. My life is near said Shanita, try leaving and coming back.
Can she hear?
We can hear you.
But can Nita hear? I don't think she can.
Uh oh.
Okay. And they can come back
Let
in.
me type in the chat.
Oh, someone can text her and let her know if she's around her. Oh, she's using her phone.
I don't know if she is. Come back in. I'll drop the link again. Okay. Hey, House and Family Folks, Cass Coffee and Convo. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the stream. Carolyn, Morgan, welcome. We will get to the technical difficulties, guys. I promise. I apologize, but these things happen on StreamYard. It's a little difficult sometimes, but we will definitely get there in the end. I promise to give you guys a great show. Okay, well, great conversation. Let me see. Invite guests. Copy to clipboard. Okay. Paste. Chat. Okay. So Shanita, I dropped the link again. If you can hear me now, I dropped the link again for you. Yes, we're getting it together, guys. Do not leave. Okay. So Nick, that's so crazy that you said that, because the first time that I discovered myself dealing with depression was also, well, it was the breakdown of my marriage. So I was still married, but that was the first time I actually experienced it myself. And it is something else completely, guys. Okay, we're going to add them back to the screen. Let's see if it's working.
Okay.
That's better. Can you hear us, Shanita?
I can't see.
You can't see?
I can't see them. It's like
a
blur.
Yeah, I can't see them either. I think they got the camera facing to the ceiling right now.
Okay.
But she'll fix it. But yeah, so that was the first time that I actually dealt with it myself. And yeah, it's like an out of body experience, if I'm being honest.
Yes.
I don't even know how to explain it, apart from the fact that it is an out of body experience.
And then you have the pressure of being like a failure, right? Because you took yourself on this journey that you're not supposed to come back from. And it's hard to face people, especially if you had like a massive wedding or something. It's hard to, just let people know, like, we're no longer together. You feel awkward when you're at gatherings, or it's just piecing your life back together after that. It's just this cycle you go through that a lot of people do not talk about, and a lot of people don't even know about, right? So you just find yourself in this weird state, and then you have to rebuild yourself, right? Because now you're an individual. So then you have to go back to being alone and figuring out who you are now, all these years after the relationship and what you want now, because you're like different. Your 30-year-old self is different from your 20-year-old self. So you just have all these moving parts, and it's just so difficult. That's why I tell everyone that thinks they want to get married that you need to think about that first. You need to be sure that you want more than the picket fence, the children, somebody to put pictures up with on, social media, because when the doors close, it's totally different. It's, behind the smiles and everything, it's life going on. Yeah. And you have to be ready to face that.
Absolutely. Welcome, Thunderscorpion. Hi. I absolutely agree. I feel that the glitz and glams that people show you of their marriages, their relationships on social media just makes everybody believe that relationship. I mean, shit, we'd all be fools. If you ain't been through it, you would be a fool and would think, oh, they so happy. This relationship is perfect. It's perfect vibes, right? But what happens behind closed doors, like Nick says, is a completely different situation.
It's life, real life.
You're still learning each other. Even after you may think you know your partner 110%, but I've even heard of older couples, like grandmas and grandpas, that say they're still learning their partner. Years later, they still learn something new.
And that could be coming from two different worlds, because if you're everyone's raised differently, everyone learned how to live life differently, and when you try to combine the two and they're just total opposites, there can be some friction there of trying to get things to intertwine and roll together. So there's, like I say, a lot of moving parts to joining forces with someone, and you just need to be sure that this is something you want to do, and before going forward, and it needs to be deeper than just like flip and glam, like you say.
Right. Can you hear us? Can you hear us? Oh. Hi, Stacey.
You waving.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but there's a lot. I can hear you.
Okay. Okay, good, good, good. Okay.
There's
Whew.
an echo.
Okay, we're good, guys. We are good. Welcome,
There's an
Stacey.
echo for some reason.
Oh,
Do you have two devices rolling at the same time?
What's,
yeah, do you guys have a laptop
what,
or something next to it?
Mute
I
one of the.
can, but it's like an echo.
Oh,
No, if you have two devices going, you need to mute one of them. If Nita is watching this from somewhere else, you need to mute it.
yeah, then you probably get the echo. Is she?
No, no, that's not what it is. It's just we're going from a phone right now.
Oh, and you
Yeah,
just
I'm
getting the
on a
echo.
phone.
You're
Are
just
you
getting.
on StreamYard? Well, yeah, your link is StreamYard.
Yeah. Uh-oh. What happened? Okay.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought they had two devices rolling in.
Me too. So, okay, so we got a few people in the house. Guys, if you guys have suffered or have dealt with depression, leave a 1 or a comment in the chat so we know, because I am reading it as well. And I did see that, I think it was Andrea.
Okay, I see the
Andrea
chat.
said, I suffered from depression after I got divorced. See, this is what I'm saying. Like, divorce is...
Divorce is a trigger.
It is. It's a trigger for all of us. And then Thunder Scorpion said, after my father died, I slipped into depression, something serious.
That happened to me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can understand. Yes, because that did happen to you. You lost your dad as well. Guys, I'm telling you, you watch Nick's channel, she is real. She has a whole video on this, honestly. Okay, Real Talk said yes, he's dealt with it.
That's a good thing. It's good to hear about men with depression because normally it's the women.
Right. Say with me that she has dealt with it too.
Moderate to severe.
I have some family folks said Dre said I suffered after my divorce for a little bit too. See, we all wow.
It's natural, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, yeah, severe to moderate. Yeah, it can be triggered by it. I think it's usually well, let me just tell you something. Let me introduce Stacey real quick, okay? So Stacey is a mental health counselor. So he's a professional in this. He knows, he deals with this on a daily basis. So we're going to be using his expertise as well on tips and things like that on how we can handle it. And then also it's great to see somebody that helps coach people through the situation, what their thoughts are on depression and mental health and how people struggle. Because he'll see a whole different range of people that deal with it. So welcome, Stacey, to the stream. Uh-oh.
Is he there? Thank you, Jiggy.
Be taking him away every time.
Yeah, he comes and goes.
He comes and goes. But that is Stacey, guys. That is Stacey.
Okay. We'll get it together.
Yeah,
but yeah,
Apostle said men do suffer. Just talk about it.
Yes.
Y'all do. That's the thing. But like Nick said, it's very interesting for men to come in. Like, we want the men to be open about it. You guys know this platform right here and my conversations are very open. We like to discuss it candidly. I ask that everybody I forgot to say that at the beginning. I ask that everybody be very respectful to people's opinions and their experiences tonight. And let's just love on each other and share what we usually share here at Candidly V's channel with everyone. So Ms. Purple said, I suffered for many years going through a lot of abuse.
Yeah. It's real out there, but it's a lot of people that don't speak about it. Everyone just kind of hides it, especially in the Black community. And I know this show is just not for Black people, but just speaking to my experiences, a lot of us, we're taught don't talk about that. You just need to go read your Bible or go work out or something like that. But these aren't answers that solve problems. These are things to cope. These are like coping mechanisms.
Right. So my life, as Nia said, well, that is one of my questions, Nia, but okay, I'll ask it now. She said, how long did it take for you to open up about your depression to someone?
Oh, is that to me? Or was
Yeah, to you.
anybody? Well, for me, okay, yeah, but for me, it immediately. I'm a very open person, so I don't hide things, and I wish more people would do that. So I purposefully tell things up front so that, I'm not stuck or caught, going through this so long and it gets so bad where I'm like either suicidal or, like out here doing wild and crazy things, going to jail or something.
Right.
So I think it is best to get things out and seek answers. I'm curious by nature anyway, though, but I'm definitely talking. I'm talking about anything I go through to anyone.
Too. Absolutely. Like, I just believe that we can use our own life stories and our own experiences to help other people. And that's a part of the reason why I started my channel. And I've always said that on here as well, is that I started my channel to be open about certain situations that I've been through, so that I can be a voice or a help to somebody else.
Yeah.
So, and I feel like Nick said, at first I was quiet when I was going through mine. I was really quiet, kind of just really quiet, get to myself a lot. But then my mom called me, and moms always know when something ain't right.
Right.
They always know when something ain't right. And then I just splurted it out, like how I was feeling, what I was going through. And she's in the medical profession too, so she already knew herself. So I was open too. I was open about it. At first I was hiding it because I just didn't want other people to be worried or stressed about me, right?
Yeah.
I just wanted to deal with it myself. But after like the first week of dealing with it, I was just like, nah, I'm just gonna let it out. And it came straight out like crazy.
Oh, Nita says drop the link again.
Oh, okay. Okay, so Nick, how long were you depressed for? Are you still dealing with
I'm still, it's ongoing. I don't believe it's a cure because, I go through different stages in life, and now, my depression is, what my husband calls embarrassment of riches, right? Because now, I'm just able to live, a nice life and do certain things, drive certain cars and things like that. And so like a lot of people around me, are not able to do the same. And so now it's just like, now it makes me sad because, I feel bad to want to ask my friend like, hey, let's go to Jamaica next month, or, let's go to Aruba. And, they really can't. So I find myself trying to pay, for everybody or things like that. And, so it's just ongoing because I'm like, why am I gifted this much in this life? And, other people who deserve it, I feel like deserve it much more than I,
right?
are struggling in life. And so that's the big question now that I have that hangs over my head a lot.
And I don't want to kick guests. What am I doing? Okay. Oh, that's a shame.
Thank you, Thunder.
Okay, Stacey, you here? Are we good? Can you hear me?
I can't. Sorry.
He said still echo. See if it just goes away.
Yeah, it may just go away. It may just, hopefully, it goes away. Hopefully, fingers crossed. So, sorry. Yeah. So, Safer Fifi said mine is hereditary, but when my father passed away, everything hit the fan. Yes, I understand. Oh, Thunder Scorpion said Nika takes courage to do what you're doing. That's so nice.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, bless. Okay, so Nita, maybe try headphones. Everyone in the chat is saying maybe if Stacey has headphones, it might work and the echo may stop. I don't know. Okay, so Stacey, we'll let you talk for a minute. So can you tell us what depression is? Or how would you best describe it?
Oh, man, that's a big question. Headphones. Yes.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can, and I think it might have fixed itself.
Oh,
Maybe.
okay.
Well, I mean, that is a big question. Um, let's see.
Yeah,
Probably
sound is low.
you can't hear me that good.
It's low. I don't know why. Maybe the earphones will help whenever Shanita brings them.
Mhm.
I can hear you guys just
You can hear us
Okay.
stuff. Yeah, we can hear you, but it's just really low. And I think the people in the chat are saying that it's low.
Mhm.
just a minute.
Yeah, they're saying that you sound a little far away.
I think he can just go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we'll. Because I can. It's just faint.
Yeah, we can hear you. If they listen quiet, if they listen, they can hear you.
Yeah.
Bless. We're coming, guys. We're coming, guys. We're coming. We're okay. So once they're dealing with that, so you're saying, so you did say that you are still struggling with depression. So how
Yeah.
do you cope, Nick?
Okay. So for me, it was about changing, my surroundings. I got into the marriage that I want to be in. I got the good people around me, that are supportive. And also, it was important for me to be sure that the people around me knew my struggles, right? So if I have you
Uh
as a friend on the same financial, you have to be okay with that. You have to be able to accept things from me. If I ask you to do something and I'm going to pay for it, we don't need to have a conversation about it, because that may just be something that I need to do and want to do,
oh. Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's just about getting an understanding. But a lot of it was just going back to the drawing board. I did a lot. First I did was I cut all my hair off. And
You did? I did that.
yeah,
Oh my god!
yeah.
Wow.
And I
Okay.
went,
This is
yeah, and I just
crazy.
went, just completely did a drastic change. So I stopped wearing weaves. I was diagnosed in 2009, and I stopped wearing hair weave and things like that. And it has nothing to do with anything, right? But that was something that I was dependent on to make myself, feel like I'm something, right? So without it, I felt incomplete. So I wanted to face that demon. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's why hence now in 2020, I still don't wear it, just because I feel like that was an enemy of mine, because it made me turn into something, that I really wasn't. Because then when I had all the hair and the makeup and the clothes, I stopped, buying all these crazy expensive, bags and shoes and everything, because it just made me pretentious. It made me think, that I was like just, something that I'm not. It was filling a void. And I was like, why do I have all these materialistic things, or who am I trying to pretend to be, right? And so now I just found comfort in myself and said, I need the people around me who like me for me, whether I have, on Chanel, or, whether
Right.
I have my bundles in or whatever. I may have an off day and look crazy, and I need you to be okay with that. So I think it's just about going back inward and looking at yourself and figuring out who you really are.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Robbie.
Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, I absolutely like agree with you. Um, I it's hard. I just find that so crazy. You cut off your hair. I guess maybe we felt like we had an identity crisis because I cut it all off, shaved off the back and everything. Like it was super short, crazy short. Everyone was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" I was like, "Yeah, just cut it all off. Just cut it." And I don't know if it
Yeah.
was a part of me trying to like just shed that part of my life
Mm-hmm. And mine was
away.
just a humbling experience. I needed a life check around here. Like
Yeah.
I was doing too much.
Robert said hair is connected with women's
It
emotions.
is. Yes, it is.
So that's probably what it was.
I
Absolutely.
think if you're responsible enough to not be codependent, like I just had to have like things, and it was costing me so much money. It was just a black hole.
Yeah, I agree. Um, Stacey, are we good? Can you hear us? Are we good? We still figuring it out? They still working on it? Okay.
Did they bring the earphones?
I mean, I have them, but
Oh, I can hear you. I can hear you.
You sound better.
You sure?
Robert said, "Cut off dead ends and start fresh." That's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
See, I asked you that question like 10 seconds ago.
You did? Okay, well, I turned down my music as well just to make sure that I can definitely hear.
Okay, so how about now? Can you hear me now?
So, yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay. So what would you say depression is?
I'm gonna try this again. So what depression is? It's different for everybody. So it's a really big sort of construct that we have in the mental health community. It's a really big idea that we have all around. But I suppose the best way that I can capture it and probably distinguish it between just being sad is that depression is very persistent. It
Mm-hmm.
stays with you. It's when you wake up in the morning. It's when you're going to work. It's when you're getting off of work. It's when you're interacting with your partner. It's when you're doing pretty much anything that would otherwise normally bring you happiness and bring you joy. And those things aren't bringing you joy anymore. And that is probably the most basic way that I would sort of outline it as far as distinguishing it between, maybe just having a rough day, a rough morning, a rough evening. Maybe you're able to have a good lunch and shake it off. Maybe you're able to have a real good day at work and shake it off. But depression is, I've had a client actually, that I met with describe it as kind of like this metal blanket that is just on you. You just kind of feel the weight of it. And, it's hard to do anything with that there.
Yeah. I can relate to that. Yeah. A metal blanket.
Yeah, that's a good explanation. Because I
I
always
thought,
I stop in my tracks when someone's like, "What is depression?" I'm like,
I
I
know,
never
it's like
know.
I can't explain it.
Mm-hmm.
It's very hard to explain, guys. So okay. So what would you say causes depression? What would you say is like the biggest cause of depression? Is it just as simple as sadness?
that's another really big question. It's different for everybody, and I feel like I might be saying that a lot, so forgive me. But depression, it can be caused by isolated events. It could be like I heard you and me talking about divorce a lot. So it could just be this great big experience that uproots your life in a very challenging way. So it could be something as simple as that. And I don't mean to say simple like it's of lower value. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it could be something like that. It could be something that just kind of almost settled into your bones over time. Just because, if you're thinking about a kid, like, right, who's growing up in a certain type of environment, a certain type of neighborhood, with certain types of parents who have failed to nurture the child in a way that's really going to help that child grow and flourish. That causes a certain brand of depression that tends to be a whole lot more persistent. And
Mm.
oftentimes, you might ask a kid like that, you know, what are you sad about? And the kid can't really tell you because there's so many different things that happen to the kid over the course of their life leading up to that point. So that situation is a little different. To answer your question, simply anything can really cause depression. I suppose the biggest thing that determines how it hits people is what sort of devices did they have available to fight it? Did they have a mom there that they could turn to? Did they have friends there that they could talk to about it? Do they have a sport that they enjoy playing? Do they have some place that they can go and talk to someone about their problems?
Mm,
And when people don't have those things, that's when things tend to go
Yeah.
pretty bad pretty quickly.
yeah, that's true. I just want to hit some comments quickly. Underscorpion said, true, I started eating meat again after 15 years, put weight on, I just slipped down. Robin says, I always say I lost my smile, I can't find my joy whenever she gets depressed. Andrea said, being stuck in the house over this virus makes depression come back. I'm a social butterfly and I hate being stuck
I
in
am
the
too.
house. Robin said depression is rampant now during quarantine. And then Save a Fee said, sometimes I have triggers and sometimes I don't.
And I mean, something real quick that just came up for me when I don't remember who that was who said it, but we're talking about quarantine, we're talking about people being in their house, and we're talking about a situation in which a lot of people can't do those things that they would normally enjoy to do, whether it's going to the gym, or maybe they really enjoy their coworkers, or maybe it was going to the beach back when a lot of the beaches were locked down. One of the first things that I look for as a mental health therapist when it comes to if a person is sitting in front of me, are they depressed, is I'm asking them, are you still doing those things that bring you joy? Number one. And number two, are they still bringing you joy?
Yeah, but
Go on,
yeah,
Nisha.
they brought up something really important, and I spoke about that in my depression video. Was that your diet? I had when I first became diagnosed with depression, I went vegan. And a lot of these things are from like chemical imbalance. And I'm not a professional like Stacey, but I do know that your hormones, can get out of whack. And a lot of these things come from the chemicals, right, that they pump into, especially like chicken, like your meat and beef and things like that. So you have to be careful. Like when you're depressed, you have to be careful drinking alcohol, and you definitely have to be careful with just your intake, your food intake.
I will be honest, right? Well, for me, when I hit my depression, eating wasn't a thing for me. I didn't want to eat anymore. I couldn't
Hmm.
eat. Anytime I tried to eat, I would either throw up or I don't even like. I just couldn't stomach food, the smell of food, nothing. But
Yeah,
drinking,
that's like a chemical imbalance, right?
now drinking I could do. Drinking was fine. That no, seriously, honestly, guys, drinking was something that I could do. Like I found joy in drinking because I felt like the alcohol would numb the pain. The
Hmm.
alcohol would numb the pain and numb the feeling of how I was feeling. I mean, at one point,
Hmm.
I had completely down like a bottle of rum. Like it was so bad, guys. Honestly, and that's why I'm being honest and open to other people that go through it or have been through it. I'm not gonna say that I'm proud to say that I did these things, but at the same time, this is just how I coped with it at the time, whilst I was going through it. And then eventually, as time got on, I found joy again. I found happiness and stuff like that. But then I noticed, yes, with this quarantine and then everything else that has happened to me this year, I'm slowly going back into my depressive state. Y'all see the smiley Vanessa and, the smiling Candidly be, the happy-go-lucky person constantly on camera. But there are a lot of times where I'm not on camera and I am crying. And I'm crying. I'm trying to heal. I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on with me. And I don't know. And sometimes I feel like I'm throwing myself into YouTube as a distraction. I do feel like
Yeah,
that sometimes. You
yeah,
find things that kind of give you some kind of joy or some kind of happiness that you try to use to take your mind off what you're really dealing with on the inside. So,
yeah. Nia brought up she has a really good comment somewhere in there.
ooh, let me see.
Nia about removing, the things you're attached to and bad energy.
Ooh,
You
near.
see it?
I'm trying to find it. I wonder how long. Did she say a long time ago? Ooh.
No, I got it right here. She says,
Okay, go and read it.
depression is a mental health issue that starts with the things you're unhappy with. It's very important to unattach to things that make you unhappy and get rid of bad energy. Let it go.
Yeah.
Because energy, that's another thing. Energy is really real. It's real, and a lot of people need to learn how to read the room. You need to know what's for you. But that's finding out who you are as a person. But you can walk in a room and feel something's off. So all
Right.
these things are in us, in our spiritual being. Things are in us, right? And that's your intuition. That's things telling you, hey, this is not for you. But it's so often, we ignore these things, and we just go after what we feel like is right. But the facts are there, up front. We just choose to ignore them.
Yeah, that's very true. Javier Lifestyle said I had anxiety before I started doing YouTube, and he said, yeah, I was worried about how people would look at me. But so glad I found a platform and great YouTubers like you all to relate to and make relationships with. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. Andrea said, since the quarantine, I'd put on 15 pounds. I've been eating a lot of junk food. I missed the gym. Yeah.
Yeah,
We've all been eating. That's definitely a part of it. And we can all relate to that.
yeah, that was the only thing open was like food, like the grocery store or fast food,
Right.
for a long time.
Exactly. So, what would you both say are the signs of depression? Wait,
Yeah,
before
that's
you answer that
thank you for
question, so you guys can think about it, because I want to read this comment before it goes. Mrs. Purple said, being molested at 7 and being molested my whole 6th grade year put me in a deep depression at 13. Was drinking alcohol, which became my best friend.
yeah, that's tough.
Wow. And we're going to
That is
get into
tough.
children dealing with it too. We are going to talk about that as well further on in the show. But yeah, yeah. Wow. That's a lot. Okay. So yeah, what do you guys believe are the signs of depression? Go on, Stacey.
So okay, so the first thing, like what I said before, that about joy, things that bring you joy. One, you're not doing the things that bring you joy. Two, that you are doing those things, but they're not bringing you joy anymore. Those are two of the major signs that I look for. But then there's also other signs too. There's this general sense of sadness that you just kind of carry all the time. And people can see it, right? Some of us wear
Mhm.
masks. I mean, a lot of us wear masks every day anyway, when we're going to work and when we're out and about and when we're dealing with loved ones and so on and so forth. But the more depressed you are, the harder it is to maintain that mask. And people just have this general sense that things are off. And, that can be a sign too if you're talking about someone that you're close to, someone that you spend a lot of time with. Now, we talked about food. Another sign of depression is weight loss or weight gain within a certain period of time. Some people, like you were saying, B, some people don't eat. And so someone like that might lose weight over time. But then you have other folks still that might have gained a significant amount of weight in a very short period of time. So that's also the sign too. And then of course there's much more obvious signs like folks talking about suicide and folks talking about these really serious experiences. Really humoring the idea of suicide too can be a sign. Um, so I mean, those are a few of the major signs. Kids. It can actually be a little bit different. I haven't worked with a whole lot of kids, but I remember in my earlier phases of training, one of the big symptoms that a lot of the textbooks I read discussed, and a lot of the professionals that I met with talked about was irritability in children. So just children just have this all around sense where everything bothers them. They're hot and they're cold, and it's very fluid, that transition between those two phases, and that can be a sign of depression too, as well as in adults, but mostly in kids. So it can be a little different depending on who we're talking about, but I mean those I think are the general signs.
Yeah.
We yeah, I would
Um,
agree. Or Nick, was you gonna say something?
I was just gonna say, for me, I feel like depression is such a broad topic that is you can't categorize signals, because while one person may get really sad when they're depressed, another person may, turn on and they're like out every day partying and having a good time because they're trying to mask it or trying to get over it. So
Mm-hmm.
you just there aren't there's not a sign that you can really pinpoint, these things. That's why it's important for you yourself to just realize, hey, something's not normal. I need to speak to someone or seek help. And that's what we as a community fail to do a lot, and we don't encourage others to do. I encourage my girlfriends that are just perfectly fine to just do a therapy session, do a check-in, like once a month. You don't have to, go every week, or, if you're not severe, but just go and speak to someone who's not in your life, who doesn't know you, that could kind of help,
Mm-hmm.
speak to you about things from a different perspective. It's just important to make sure that you're staying on top of your mental health. And people think that mental health is for the crazy, the depressed, the deranged, but no, it's for every one of us, because we all go through things in life, and we're all going to have depressed moments. You may get out of yours, or I may stay in mine, but that moment is going to happen. Is if you're breathing, you're going to go through some kind of stage of depression.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. Uh, Thunder Scorpion said the hard thing with childhood trauma is that if it's unchecked, you can act certain behaviors out in childhood, in adulthood.
Ooh,
The child
that
will
is
get
good.
empathy. The adult is still that child trying to heal but judged.
Yep. I
Real
agree with
talk
that.
said facts, Neek. You never really know who's fighting depression because people react to it differently.
Exactly.
Andrea said, my daughter went through depression over our divorce. Yeah. Yeah, everyone, and that's right, Robin. Everyone is fighting a battle that we have no idea is going on because a lot of people don't talk about it, or they'll
Mhm.
confide in the people that are closest to them, but they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
And I'm not too sure why we don't want to talk about it more. I feel like we
It's
need to.
embarrassing because you think that I'm not as strong as I'm supposed to be, like as people think I should be. It's a sign of weakness to them. But
Right.
no, there's strength in, facing your problems.
And
Yeah.
that seems to be the case, especially in our culture.
Hmm.
With people of color, especially, but definitely with black people too, especially with black men, because strength is very important to us as a people. Strength, very important, and we have these rules that we've sort of established over time that we don't really talk about, but that we act out.
Mm-hmm.
That you can't cry in front of your loved ones, that you can't talk about the things that are really bothering you, that you're weak if you have a bad day. You want to talk about, not necessarily that you want to talk about, but you had a tough day. It probably helped you to talk about that with your partner, but you just choose not to because you don't want to be seen as that guy. You don't want to be seen as the naysayer. You don't want to be seen as the Debbie Downer.
Mm.
There's a lot of rules that I think are kind of written into our DNA just because we've had to deal with so much historically. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
about our problems in the 1950s, they didn't
Right.
compare to our problems now.
Yeah.
And, and so a lot of us have parents, a lot of us have grandparents that belong to that age or cohort, that older age cohort, and it's like, you're messed up over a boyfriend, you're messed up over a girlfriend.
Right.
But at the end of the day, everyone has their pain, everyone has their suffering, and if it goes unchecked, it can cause a problem.
Yeah. Robin said, Stacey, how do you know when it's just sadness, and how do you know when it is depression? Is the depression just persistence, and when should you seek help?
So sadness versus depression. Persistence has a lot to do with it. I think I outlined that a little bit initially. But, if you're sad, and you also, okay, here's one thing that you can do, one quick test. First, ask yourself, has anything major happened in your life? Right? Did you just get divorced? Did you just get evicted? Did your car just get repoed? Did you just get into a fight with someone that you really love and really care for? Did you just lose someone? As far as how folks like myself, professionals like myself, if I see someone coming in and I know that they just lost their husband in a car accident, or that they just lost their wife in a car accident, I'm not going to diagnose that person with depression. That person is grieving. They're supposed to be sad. They're supposed to go a period of time without eating. They're supposed to go a period of time without really enjoying things the way they would because they haven't spent that time thinking about, okay, what is my life now that I don't have this person here? And so sometimes it's just a matter of looking around in your life and asking yourself what changed. Sometimes that's the first checkpoint. Now, depression has a way of just sticking along with you, even when you started to do those things that should make you feel better. So one of the things that we'll do is that we'll tell ourselves, okay, I'm just going to start eating right. I'm going to go back to exercising. I'm going to go back to going to the beach on the weekends. I'm going to go back to having lunch with my little cousin on Fridays. I'm going to go back to watching movies. I'm going to go back to my hobbies. And the difference is that when you're sad, if you're just sad, generally you can do something that'll kind of pick you up out of it a little bit. But depression has a way of just kind of sticking with you. And, you might be doing something enjoyable with smiling because, again, you got that mask on. But deep inside, you're like, I really just I just want to go home. I want to get in my bed. Here's the thing, too. Sadness isn't as powerful as depression. Because depression has a way of, I almost see depression as kind of like this person inside you that is telling you, I just want to stay in bed. I don't really feel like eating. I don't feel like doing this. I don't feel like doing that. It's almost this voice in your head that's convincing you that all those things that you would normally do take way too much energy to do now. It's way too high of an energy investment to get out of this bed and go, go wherever. So that's one of the things too. Generally, when you're just sad, the intensity of that is different.
Yeah. I think that's why I said, like, it's like an out-of-body experience that you can't really explain. It, in a way, it's kind of like you're like watching yourself. You're watching yourself, and you can't pull yourself out of it. You're not coming out of it, no matter how hard you try. It's hard. It's really, really difficult. Stacey, would you say there are different elements or levels of depression? Are there different elements or levels of depression?
Um, I mean, there's different forms of depression, of course, and there's also different intensities, right? I mean, someone could just be moderately depressed. Someone could have severe depression. When you're talking about someone who has severe depression, that's typically somebody who might be in an inpatient facility, and this person has to take medications, and this person has to go to counseling twice a day or numerous times throughout the week. And there's a team of folks, psychiatrists, social workers, therapists, psychologists that are working in order to coordinate that person's treatment. And someone who has severe depression, they might not even necessarily be able to communicate a whole lot anymore. It's almost like, think of every sad movie you ever seen, right? Where it's like there's this person that's sort of walking around with their head down, and that is just one presentation out of many. Then, of course, there's minor depression. There's functional depression, which is like,
That's
yeah,
me.
my life sucks, but I can still go to work. I can still pick up my kids. I can still take care of loved ones. I don't have the same pep in my step that I did before. And these feelings are staying with me all the way up until I go to bed at night. And the first things that are greeting me in the morning, but I'm still here. I'm working through it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are definitely different. Everyone has a different experience, of course, that mainly is different by the intensity and the particular brand of depression.
Yeah. Under Scorpion said, right, my father went to prison and it made him angry. He was amazing, but had a side that I knew when I got older we would clash. We locked up several times when I was a late teen to the early 20s. Wow. Thunder, you've been through a lot.
Yeah. I mean, see,
You've
like
been,
everybody, that's why I said it doesn't skip people. Like everyone has something. Just some people can work through it and other people it just affects them differently.
right. He even said it's like our parents were hurt and it's been passed down. So it's like passing down to generations. But I think that's what Fee said. Hers is hereditary. So, they've all kind of dealt with it. It's just been passed down. So, okay. So, let's talk about your loved ones that are around the depressed person. How should your loved ones handle or deal with somebody that they believe is depressed?
It's different, of course, with everyone. Man, that's hard, and I'm going to tell you why that's hard. I'm going to tell you why it's a hard question to answer. The first reason why it's a hard question to answer is because there's a part of me that almost wants to tell people sometimes, don't change what you do, because people notice that you made that change, and all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I brought the family down. I've upsetted my mom. I've upsetted my dad. I've upsetted my significant other. I've upsetted my boyfriend, my girlfriend, whatever. And so there's a part of me that wants to suggest, and in some cases this is best. This might be what's good. That you don't want to change a whole lot. I'm not saying that you ignore a person, of course. I'm not saying that you see that they're sad, that you don't engage them, that you don't talk to them and try to figure it out. But generally, it's better, I think, to kind of save like the big guns. Like this is an intervention type situation for if you're just noticing that no matter what you're doing over time, things just aren't getting better. When it comes to supporting people who are depressed, that is the time where you really just want to put in, that you really just want to put on you want to put in your support people pants, and you just want to, this is a child of yours. It's time for you to get back to whatever those things that you used to do with that child that used to bring that kid joy. You guys used to go out to the movies on weekends, and you stop going out, and you stop doing things that you normally do around people. That has a lot to do with it as well. So, to an extent, you kind of want to go back to being a good human being, because some of us can be pretty bad sometimes when we have our own situations we're trying to deal with. You just want to try to go back to being a good human being, to try to make a concerted effort to both acknowledge that person's experience and to try to help them through that in a way that allows them to grow. Pursuing those growth experiences together.
Yeah.
The time that we talked about taking those dance lessons for years. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Maybe this is the time to take on all those things that you talked about before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Purple said, my mom told me I was living dead. I asked her why she said that. She said I was living amongst the living, but dead inside. Wow.
It's something else.
Wow. And Robin asked her, how do you feel now, Miss Purple? And she said, I knew I had to deal with it, so I went through a spiritual journey and cleansing. I'm a changed person, and I thank God Almighty now.
Nice.
That's good.
And that brings up a good point, too, about depression. Like, of course, you want to help people who are depressed, but ultimately, that is their journey. And
Yeah.
you of course, you love people, you care for people, you support people. But you're not going to be able to make them feel better, and you certainly don't want to get to the point. You certainly want to do the best you can to try not to put on that this person is a burden for you, whoever it might be, because people are sensitive to that as well. And if they realize that they're a burden, then that just plays into the narrative of what they've been telling themselves the whole time. I'm worthless. I'm without hope. I'm without saving. I'm not lovable. These are some of the things that people who are depressed tell themselves.
Yeah. Wow. What do you do when someone's in denial about being depressed?
Oh man, that's hard.
Like, yeah, how do you help someone that doesn't even believe that they're in that state? I mean,
Well, can you help someone,
Yeah, can
That's what
you?
I'm saying. Like, that kind of goes back to what I said before. Like, it's their journey. If they don't feel like they're depressed. Here's the thing, right? I do this for a living, right? People come to me, they sit across from me. Well, not now because it's Corona. But historically, people come in, they sit in a chair across from me, they tell me what they're experiencing, and we make a decision whether we continue based on that talk. Some people will sit in front of me and tell me, yeah, my eating's changed. Yeah, I've lost some weight. Yeah, I think about dying sometimes. Yeah, I don't do all those things that I used to do before. Yeah, I generally don't feel well. Yeah, I would rather be anywhere else aside from where I am right now. But I'm not depressed.
Right.
Depression's for crazy people.
Wow.
I'm not crazy.
I think a lot of people feel that way for real. Real Talk says you can't. The only way to change things is to first admit it.
Yep.
You gotta be a part of that process. One big myth that I think people have about the counseling experience and that the counseling environment is that you're gonna go there and that the therapist is gonna fix you, right? Like you're like this car that's overheating that you take to the garage, and the mechanic he's gonna switch out your radiator, he's gonna switch out your water pump,
Mm-hmm.
that's not what it is. That's not what it is at all. You have to be along for the ride. A therapist can't just fix you unless you're part of that process.
Yeah. Do you think that there's people that don't even know that they're actually depressed?
Heck yeah.
But they are. Okay, yeah.
Heck yeah, lots of people.
But they're not the ones that are in denial, but they are just going through. So, or are they? I guess they would be in denial.
Yeah, they're in a form of denial. It's just different. It's different. But there's a lot of people, and I mean, it kind of goes back to what we said before, to what Neat was saying about the concept of depression in general. It's such a big and fluid concept that applies differently to people.
Mm-hmm.
So it could be that I think you're depressed, but maybe one of my colleagues doesn't. Sometimes there's disagreement in between mental health professionals where one counselor might be like, this person is definitely depressed, and someone else might be like, well, no, they just kind of went through something. You actually find that a lot with therapists of different culture.
Mm.
Well,
Sometimes there was a point in time where people of color, where African American men were underdiagnosed
mm-hmm.
as far as mental health. And that pendulum has swung to the other side too at times where it's like African American people were overdiagnosed with forms of depression and other forms of mental health. So that, I mean, that highlights too just how different depression is from person to person.
Wow.
You know, if we're talking about my professional opinion and people that I interact with and people that I walk by, yeah, I think there's a lot of people around us that are depressed, but you know, they don't feel that way. So.
Yeah. Save with Fee said, that's why I don't like talking to my therapist. I feel like she's judging me.
And you know what's crazy? Like you would think that mental health professionals, like whenever you tell someone that I go and meet with a counselor, I met with a counselor, I met with a therapist, and you know, you would think a lot of the stories would be like, yeah, it was amazing, like they were able to help me, they were there, they got it. There's so many, I hear as many stories of people going to therapists and feeling like they're judged and feeling like they're not growing and feeling like their therapist isn't really worth their salt. I hear those stories just as often as I hear the stories where a therapist has been, you know, the best thing that's ever happened to someone.
Yeah. Fee said, I don't want to talk to anyone who has never had a panic attack and then turn and tries to tell me how to handle it.
Well, I guess you wouldn't like me then, because I haven't been through many panic attacks.
Right, I agree. Okay. Okay, so what is your take on being on medication whilst being depressed? Nick, are you on medication for your depression?
No, and I won't take it.
Okay.
It's just a personal preference. I don't believe in pharmaceutical medicines for a lot of things. So it's not just that.
Yeah. I'm not either. Stacey, what's your take on medication and depression?
Uh, it has a place. There are some people, you know, I think you know, when I talked before about uh, the different levels of depression, where you have one person who is severely depressed and they're staring at a wall, and you know, they are not able. The idea of them getting up and going to bed takes way more mental energy than it
Mm-hmm.
is for me or for you or I to do it. To have that same thought and to work through it and actually translate that to a behavior.
Yeah, it has its place, but I feel like it just, if they could make a medication that would cure it, okay. But you're just coping at that point, you know,
And then you're relying on, I feel like you rely on the medication. Like, I sometimes feel like the medication, I don't know, but I sometimes feel like the medication puts you in a worse place because now it's like I'm heavily relying on the medication to make me feel better or to cope, like Nick said. You know what I'm saying?
but I mean, some people need it, you know, right? So I don't want to be judgmental because some people need that to go to work. Some
Right,
people
that's
need
true.
to look at their
And
children every day.
yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, some
so
people.
so I get it, but I do feel like my first option was, you know, the holistic approach, and I feel like food is your medicine. And if you pay attention to your diet and just pay attention to your surroundings and who, get good people, good strong people in your life. And we were talking about earlier about your partner. I have a spouse that has to deal with, when I'm in and out and I feel like it, don't feel like it. So you just got to make sure that you team up, with the right people that have your best interests at heart.
Yeah.
And like it makes life easier. But, medicine definitely does have its place, especially like say if you're a single mom and you got children looking for you to bring home the bacon and fry it and put them to bed every night. Like you sometimes you just have to have it, but I would say don't resort to that. Don't go there first. Like if you're a newly diagnosed depressed person, I would suggest just trying to change your diet, because food is definitely medicine. And if you research and you just change your way of life and your diet, that can heal a lot of things we need, even like diabetes. It's more than just depression. It's a lot of health issues that can be cured just by our intake.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
I mean, as far as medication too, I think the place of medication with the folks that it is helpful for is that it's not supposed to be a replacement for, you working on your challenges and you actually meeting with a therapist and working through those issues. It's not that you go and there's a lot of people that go to their doctor, right? You go to your primary care doctor and, you're having your checkup, you're having your annual, whatever, and it comes up that the doctor thinks that you're depressed or the doctor thinks that you're anxious because they're noticing a change in your behavior. They're talking to you. For those of you that have real good doctors that you feel like you can talk to about your problems, maybe that comes up. And then your doctor prescribes you anti-anxiety meds or your doctor prescribes you antidepressants.
mm,
But then you don't see your doctor again for another year or for a few months or whatever it might be. And those are the situations in which if you're just taking medication, right, and you're just going about your life, you haven't made any changes. Those are the situations in which medication doesn't tend to be as helpful as when you are working with a therapist that you're meeting with weekly. They're able to ask you, how's the medication going? Okay, now we talked about self-esteem. What are we going to do for self-esteem this week? What are we going to do for anger management this week? Like, how are we going to continue to push you through? And this medication is really just so you can keep going to work, or
mm,
so you can keep so you don't burn your house down as far as your interactions back at home with your loved ones. So,
yeah.
it has its place, and a lot of people do end up relying on it. I don't think that's the way the medication was intended to be used.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you think there's a big difference between the person that is on medication for their depression to a person that's not on medication for their depression?
There is, just because there's some people that can manage it. There's some people that can manage it, um, that can manage their symptoms without medications, and there's some people that can't. There's some people that need that little boost. And it's really, I almost think it's kind of unfair to look at people as, oh, this person needs medication because it's so much more severe for them than it is for another person. I'm really wary about labeling people and putting them in boxes. I try very hard not to do that. But on the other hand, I generally try to let that be a process too. That when I'm contemplating and I'm having that conversation with my client, and we're able to kind of work through the contingencies to figure out whether it seems like a good fit.
Mm.
So,
Okay, so I know we started talking a little bit about the Black community. Would you guys say that mental health is taboo in the Black community today? And if yes, why?
that's a good
Of
question.
course, it is.
That is like
But we hit on that
probably
earlier.
the
Yeah.
biggest taboo.
It is. Okay, they just say, yeah, it is. Okay, and then we started talking about Black men.
Hmm.
So would you say it's hard? So do we all agree that it's probably harder for Black men to talk about their mental health than it is for a Black woman? Is it?
I wouldn't know that.
In general, I would say.
Well, what's your thoughts, Nick? I just want
In
to hear
general,
your
I would say
thoughts.
because I think generally men, this is just a gross generalization, but a lot of the men that I talk to over time, and being a man myself, my partner can tell you I don't always like talking about what it is. Like I come home from work and I might be pissed off about something that happened at work, but I don't want to talk about it because it's like in my mind, it's like in my male black mind, it's like what's talking about it gonna do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
The
think a lot
bar
of
is
people,
high though. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I
For
think a
you.
lot of people look at it the same way, and
Mm-hmm.
so I think my guess, right? I'm not a woman, so I don't want to overextend. But my guess is that women are probably a bit better on talking about their inner experiences in general than men are.
Mm.
In general.
Okay. Would you say, do you guys think that the topic of mental health is being discussed more now in the 21st century than it used to be discussed? Or do you think people are still just not discussing it?
I see it a lot now. I see a lot of people talking about it on social media. So I don't believe it's as, you know, looked over as it has been in the past. But who knows if people are just writing about that, saying it, but not really doing the work behind it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Because I do think in general we talk about it more. We have way more ads. We have way more music videos. It has a presence in our music. It has a presence in hip hop. It has a presence in many other
Mm-hmm.
genres of music that we listen to. But if you look hard enough in 1980s, 1970s, 1960s, you can find similar things there. Um, there is something to be said, of course, about technology and how it's changed us as a civilization,
Oh yeah.
and how we in essence have crazy, crazy, terrible news events coming to our phone.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
And oftentimes we know that people pass away. We know that bad things have happened to people quicker than people that might be in the family of that person.
Yeah.
Mm.
And so there's
Yep.
something to say about that. We talk a lot about that. We have access to that technology, and I think it has changed how often we see things. But as to whether people are actually doing the work, like Neek said, that's a little bit harder to gauge.
Yeah. Do you guys feel that people use recreational drugs to deal with or cope with their mental health?
Um, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. That's hard to say why people, choose to deal with things. 'Cause I know people that just picked it up from a homeboy. Like, I'm smoking because he smoked, and
Mm-hmm.
that's just what we do. And they don't know why they doing it, so, but I do think that some people, I guess I would say like the people that get caught up in that crack epidemic would probably be someone that's kind of, you know, trying to mask feelings of depression. Because they go further, like those gateway drugs. You start dabbing in a lot of things that are taboo, if you will, and a lot of chemical drugs, and not really, you know, herbs, if you will. So that could be someone just like, I just need to try something. I just want to feel good. That's the same with sex, and the same with alcohol.
Mm.
And gambling and video
Yeah.
games
Yep.
and so many other things. Like there's behaviors that there's so many behaviors that we have that we engage in as a way of getting away from
Right.
what's going on in our lives rather than dealing with it head on.
Okay. So, like you said, Neek, you've got your partner, your husband that deals with that and, copes with you dealing with depression and whilst you're going through it. What's your take with depression within relationships? How should either sex? Well, I guess we kind of answered that already. But what's your take on when you've got one depressed partner and the other person isn't depressed? How do they? Because I feel like when people are dealing with depression, sometimes a lot of relationships and marriages end because they can't help the person, or they feel like
Yeah.
the partner feels like they're failing as a partner because they're not able to help get their partner out of this.
Hmm.
And then the person that's dealing with the depression also feels like, you know, oh, my life sucks and I'm bringing you down with me and I don't want you to be with me. How do we keep couples together rather than them splitting up when they have a depressive person in the relationship?
Well, I know my husband had a lot of this would have been good to have him out here too. Because he went through the guilt trip phase of like, what why am I not good enough for you? Like, I'm giving you everything. I never tell you no. I can buy you anything you ask for and you're still unhappy. Are you ungrateful? Or am I not good enough, as a partner? So these things come up. But great thing about him is that he was willing to do the work to understand,
Mm-hmm.
what I was going through instead of just internalizing things. And he just had to learn that it has nothing to do with you and everything to do with me, and these things happen. Your thing may be you may get hit by a bus and have to push you around in a wheelchair for the rest of your life. You just never know. But are you willing to be there and do the work to go through it with a person? I think is a big thing that we need to look for, in a partner. But yeah, there's always that question like, am I not good enough? Or it could be, do I even want to deal with this? Like, I can go get with somebody else and live my life. Am I willing to go through it? But I think if your love is strong enough, and that's why like if you go on my social media, I know like you don't see my family because my family is very personal to me, and I feel like if I keep them close and we just stay close and in tune with one another and we don't get the distractions coming
Mm-hmm.
in, that we can get through this thing. And if we do have something that goes on, we're gonna do the work behind the scenes. So no,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna portray this happy life, on social media because some days I'm not gonna be happy, and I don't need people questioning me, or I don't need to feel like a failure if we don't work out, and if you decide you don't want to deal with me, and you want to leave me, then I don't have to sit here and explain to the world why just 2 days ago, I'm smiling down with you.
Smiling now we unhappy. Yeah.
Yeah, and then now we're not working. So that's the thing. It's just to keep your family and your partner, especially your relationship, man. Keep it close and keep it private and quiet. That's a prized possession to me.
Yeah.
It's not for everyone. It's for you and it's for your partner. It's not for anybody else because then they project their life, their thoughts, their morals on you, and you find yourself back in that boat where you're becoming the relationship that you're not because the two of you aren't like those people, So you have to
Mm-hmm.
do the work, I think.
I had a question. Nick, did your husband ever go to counseling with you whenever you went?
No.
Okay. Stacey, what do you think about that? Bringing your partner with you when you are going through that to counseling, or is it just something that you should deal with individually with your counselor?
It is on an individual basis. I mean, sometimes you have, even just with couples, sometimes it makes sense to bring a partner in because it might be a matter of miscommunication. It might be a matter of the message is not being received by the partner because the partner is feeling defensive. The partner is feeling like they're being attacked, like it's something wrong with them.
Hmm.
They're not able to
Mm-hmm.
step outside of themselves to see uh, what's going on and to get an understanding as to how they ought to interact and how they can support their partner. So sometimes you bring folks in, you bring couples in, you bring married persons in, so that you can have those discussions, and so that you can come up with a plan, with to push through that.
Mm, yeah. Okay, we're gonna get into the kids topics now, just a little bit. Um, do you think parents realize when their kids are suffering with depression?
Hmm.
You know what I think? And I don't have kids, but I've lived around kids. What I think is that if a parent has any sense of duty or watchfulness at all, I think they know. I think they
Yeah.
know when something is off. Like as long as you have a basic relationship with your kids, that's more than hi and bye and dinners at 7.
Mm-hmm.
I think you know. I think
Yeah.
you know. I don't think it's a big surprise the way a lot of parents make it out to be. You can see when things are different. You can feel it.
Hmm.
Again, I don't have this experience myself because I don't have kids, but my partner has kids, and she can feel when the energy is just wrong in a given situation. She doesn't have to be able to say exactly what it is, but something is just wrong. And so then it becomes a matter of, do you have the courage to try to figure out what that is?
Mm-hmm.
Do you sit on this knowledge that you have, or do you and see how it's going to play out, or do you act on it?
I think you should always act on it. If with kids,
Hmm.
take your child to counseling or something. Try and speak. They may not want to speak to you about what they're going through,
Right.
because at the end of the day, you don't know what's going on with your child when they're at school. Let's be real. You don't know.
Hmm.
You don't know what other kids are telling these kids whilst they're in school. It's so sad when you watch the news and you're hearing about these kids committing suicide because they were being bullied at school or
Yeah.
something. Parents are like, I never knew. I just didn't know. They would come home and they were fine. So I think it's a struggle. Robin said, but I don't think we as parents want to say depression is the culprit, though.
Right, right. And I mean, one very important point too, when you're talking about suicidality, I do believe suicide catches people off guard
Yeah.
because, but I don't think sadness and depression catch people off guard. Even though a lot of those parents be like, I didn't know they were going to go do that. I
Mm,
guarantee you a lot of those parents knew that something was wrong with the kid, knew that that kid was sad, knew that that kid
Hmm.
was withdrawn. They knew they had signs,
yeah.
Right.
and they chose, to either to not act or whatever based on those signs. So, there's a distinction between depression and suicide that sometimes people go and do it, and you would never think they were going to do it. Parents are like, yeah, I knew he was sad, but I didn't think it was that bad. Like, I didn't think, you know, she was always smiling, she was always happy, and whatever. Um, so that's harder.
Yeah. Shanita said, I didn't want to accept it at first when my child was depressed, but I knew something was off. Robin said, I would feel like a failure, but of course that's not true. She's like, but we do know when something is off with our children. So, do you guys feel that parents sometimes have such high expectations from their kids, which often lead to kids being depressed? That kids feel like they have to live up to this expectation that the parent has always told them they want them to do.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I was like that. Not that I had to manage and deal with depression, but the expectations that your loved ones put on you, not just parents, but a lot of people are raised by our grandparents. A lot of people grow up in different mixed, blended, or um, unique households, and there are expectations that come with, okay, you're the first kid going to college, or
Mm-hmm.
you got this job, you got a job at 14, you got a job at 15, whatever. You're doing so much better than your peers. Like, you're making me proud. I think and sometimes it's not. expectations in a negative light, right? Sometimes it's not like your dad and your mom are saying, I expect so much more from you. Why are you messing up like this? Sometimes it's more subtle, right?
Mm.
Sometimes it's like, go out there and make me proud, right? And it feels very warm. It feels very warm and tender, and it feels like it's showing you growth. But what happens when the kid goes out to the real world and they fail?
Yeah.
Do you, as a family system, have you taught your kids how to manage and deal with failure? A lot of us haven't.
Yeah. Yeah. Fee said, when my daughter and I have our heart to heart talks, she told me that she felt a lot of pressure from me and her dad to do well. She said, but I expect nothing less. So, I mean, it's a hard one. I'm sure it's hard for parents too. And like Stacey said, sometimes it's just the subtle things. You don't know that your child's thinking this is an extremely high expectation for me to reach, when you're just saying, go and do well today, or make sure you pass that test, or whatever. It can be something that's so normal to somebody that's not dealing with depression. They would just take it like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks. I appreciate it. But to somebody that's dealing with depression that you don't know about, they would take it as something else. So I guess we have to be
Things
really
that I have to
careful
do that I can't do because I don't have the energy to do it.
right, exactly. Exactly. Do you think that social media, I know we said that social media has a lot of about depression and mental health and things like that, but do you think that that is affecting our kids in today's society the most because they're so heavily saturated in social media?
Heck yeah. And I'm gonna tell you one of the biggest reasons why. One of the biggest reasons why social media has such a crazy effect. Because we all put on a face for social media.
Mm-hmm.
We all have our best pictures on social media, our best posts, how we're talking about things that are amazing, awesome. Generally there's some people on there that are more transparent about their life too. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about the vast majority of people, especially youth. When you're younger, you want people to see you in a favorable way. So you're posting all those things that go well. You're posting that new outfit. You're posting all this money that you made. And the problem with that is that there's a lot of people on social media that assume that everyone is doing well except themselves
Mm-hmm.
because everyone has their best face on social media. There's no way for you to know that half of those last 100 people that you were scrolling on were depressed because you
Mm-hmm.
can't
Mm-hmm.
generally.
Yeah.
So I think social media has a lot to do with it because it's not real. It's not an accurate representation of people. You walk into a Walmart, you're probably a heck of a lot more likely to be able to tell who's depressed more than you are on social media.
But do you feel that social media could highlight it more? There's
Maybe.
a lot on social media, but we also have the argument of people don't talk about it enough. So could social media highlight mental health?
I think in kids it can, because they're in an unrealistic world right now. This is technology. The technology boom has changed the way we see things, the way we behave, our perception on life itself. And we thought climbing trees and swinging in the park was,
Mm,
fun, but they think like hacking into computers and like cell phones and everything. And then you have these kids, these $1 million kids on YouTube, like playing with toys, sitting around doing nothing, making like twice as much as your parents are making. So you don't even want to listen to your parents because they can't tell you something when you can just turn on a camera and play
yeah,
video games and make way more money than you're gonna make in your lifetime. You know, so it's just a new world. But I think that it it always evolves, right? We've evolved from our parents, and now they're evolving from us, and that's just their walk that they're gonna have to deal with, unfortunately.
yeah, that's true. Shanita said, how should parents deal with kids who suffer from depression? Is there a way?
it's really a matter of just spending more time talking to them. I mean, I know it feels almost like a cop out answer. You know, like, well, I talk to them all the time.
Yeah.
There's more opportunities. You have to keep talking to them,
Engage them.
with
Yeah.
them. You have to keep supporting them until eventually they let down the walls and they let you in.
Mm.
Generally, kids will leave you out.
Yeah.
Like, I think about my relationship with my parents, with my dad. I didn't. I very rarely let him into my life unless he asked me explicitly, and he had asked me a number of times before I felt good enough that day to be like, okay, here's what's going on,
Mm.
you know.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too: when you talk to your kids, yeah, there's a level of tact. You don't want to be too preachy. Kids generally don't like preaching.
Right.
Or, and I say that knowing damn well in the back of my mind that I preach sometimes. But you have to try to get a handle on it. You have to try to spend as much time listening as you are talking.
Mm. That's
And
important. I think that's a good line for anybody dealing with depression that you may know and you're trying to help them in any way. You know, rather than you talking at them all the time, try listening. Just listen to what they have to say and what they're telling you, because you'll probably find out a lot more information that you didn't know.
mm-hmm.
Do you give your kids a time frame or ultimatum while they're dealing with their depression? I don't think you can put a time frame on it.
Yeah. If my son gets whatever he goes through, I'm going through it with him, every step of the way. And I'm not gonna push him. That's what a lot of old school parents do. Like they'll tell you go do push ups or, go lay
Yeah,
down, you know. But
yeah.
no, I'm gonna pour into my child because we don't need another like degenerate out there wailing out because their
And you just
parents.
don't know. Like sometimes depression comes in waves. Sometimes it's a constant for people. So everyone's time frame is different. Do you believe you can ever really get out of depression? Has there ever been clients that never come back because they really are out of their depression now? Is it ever cured or helped or healed?
I've never thought about that before, but the first, my intuition is telling me that depression is probably always going to be a part of you in some way.
Mm-hmm.
But that you shouldn't look at it necessarily as, it's kind of like, um, I can't think of a better example, but so forgive me if this comes off as offensive. But like your menstrual cycle, right? It's not a pleasant experience for someone,
Mm-hmm.
but it's going to come, and it's a part of you, and it's part of what makes your identity as a woman. Sort of
Yeah.
like it's sort of like depression when we think about ourselves as emotional beings, because we are emotional beings, we're emotional creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Depression is one of those waves that flows through. You might have spent some time being anxious, and you might have spent some time being sad. Just like you spend
Mm-hmm.
time being happy, that's a state of emotion as well. I think that emotion is always going to be part of you to some extent,
Yeah.
and probably a lot of the time that you spend with your therapist, if you do, go to a counselor or go to a mental health professional, a lot of that time that you're going to spend is going to be focusing on how do I think about depression not as this thing that's happening to me, but as this phase that I'm working through, that I can
Mm-hmm.
work through,
Yeah.
and that might still be there to some extent. So what do I need to do to give myself the best chance of coping when it comes up
Mm. That's good. So, guys, I'm going to put this question to everybody in the chat. I'm going to put this question to my guests that were here with me tonight. The last question that I had is, how do we as a community do more for bringing awareness to the topic of mental health? Because we need to. There's a lot of creators that are in the chat. and that have dealt with it. There's a lot of you guys that have actually dealt with it. So what do we do as a community to bring more awareness to mental health, to not make it so taboo, to let people know that they're not the only ones? I'm shocked with the amount of people that are dealing with depression,
Yeah.
anxiety, and mental health issues that we're here today. I'm shocked. I didn't think,
Mhm.
knowing everybody, and like, you don't know unless people are willing to tell you. But I'm pretty shocked that all of us, there's a lot of us all in the same circle that are all dealing with
Mhm.
it. That's amazing.
Yep.
See, Fee's like doing this, like talk about it on every
Mhm.
platform we can. Yeah. She said, I hid mine for years. I think a lot of people do. And I feel like it's a shame when people feel like they have to hide it, because I
Yeah.
don't feel like it's a shameful thing. It's not a shameful thing. It's something that you have to deal with and get through, and that you have to manage and cope with. But I don't think it's shameful. I don't even find my depression, or talking about my depression, embarrassing. I don't
No.
at all. I've accepted it for what it is. I can't help it. I can't help that part of me, or of my life. So, I don't find it shameful, and I'm willing to talk about it. So I just hope and pray that more of you guys are willing to open up and to talk about
Mhm.
it. And I was very proud and watched the whole video from Nick when she talked about hers. You know,
Oh, thank you.
I
Yeah,
was,
it was a lot of stages there. That's why I say it's so broad because it kicked off like early and then it just turned into something else, and so that's to Stacy's point. It's just ongoing. It's a part of you, and whatever you do to deal with it, be it medicine, be it your faith, your lifestyle, lean on it and, just go day by day. That's all we offer, you know?
exactly. And guys, look, we have such a huge support system here on YouTube itself,
Mm-hmm.
us creators, that there's none of us should be feeling ashamed or feeling that we're weak to talk about it to one of us.
Yeah, yeah,
Going
that's
through
so
it.
weird too, because I think that I don't understand where the guilt and shame comes from, but it's not even in just depression, but in life itself. Like there are women out there, like that I got my eggs frozen, right? So
Mhm.
there are women out there who have like IVF and don't talk about it. And that's a good topic for you while we at it. You need to do
Writing it down.
what is it called, y'all? Fertility
Right.
issues with women, but it's just like and also my girlfriend brought up another topic about why do people not talk about how much they make? Like all these secrets we got, right? And she was like, when you don't speak about how much you make, you hurt each other across the board because we could be working the same job in two totally different states, or whatever, in two totally different companies. Let me say that.
Hmm.
And your income is not the same. You could help someone, get
Right.
further if you speak about these things. Like how much does it pay to mow grass? I don't know, or
Yeah.
whatever. And you need to share. People need to share things with people. I don't get why when you know something you don't tell anyone, and
Mm.
you sit tight lip. But there are things out here that we gotta stop this shaming and making things taboo that aren't taboo, and
Yeah.
and speak about them with each other, because that's the only way we can grow and actually live the life that we want to live. We got one life,
Yeah.
and we're sitting here wasting it away because we're scared to talk to each other, and that's
Right.
weird.
Exactly. Fee said she said she was ashamed of talking about it because she was telling herself, I'm a strong woman.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I understand it. But guys, we have each other. And look, I bet any money, I could put money down in this chat. Nobody knew that every single person that we all deal with regularly
Right.
was dealing with it, or
Mm-hmm.
has dealt with
Yeah.
it. None of
And
none
to
of us
and
knew.
to Fee, you're only strong when you do speak about it. That's when you're strong. And if you guys are if Christians, you know, your Bible speaks about that, that when I'm weak, then am I strong. Like that's when where your strength comes from, where your strength lies. It's
Right.
not in, you know, holding in and, you know, hurting yourself internally, because that's how you get all these health issues, you know, because you're internalizing everything. And so you're
Right.
only strong when you let go and you free yourself.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Guys, is there anything else you guys would like to leave? There's one piece of advice you would leave to everybody before we end this session. I'll give you both a chance to say something.
My biggest piece of advice that I give to a lot of people, right? I meet a lot of people every day. I work with a lot of people. Um, I've met with a lot of people from all different cultures, all different shapes and sizes. The biggest piece of advice that I give to anyone when it comes to mental health is that you got to do something, right? It might not be counseling.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're at a place where you want to sit in front of a complete stranger and tell them about your life and to walk through it with them. And that's fine. Here's another
Mm,
thing I'll say. Counseling might not necessarily be for everybody in that respect. There's a lot of really hard-headed people in the world that just kind of want to work through it on their own terms, and that's fine. But you got to do something. Here's what I mean by that. It sounds a little
Yeah.
cliche, but here's the analogy I always use, right? And if we're talking about getting stronger physically, right?
mm,
If you're talking about getting stronger on the bench press, right? That doesn't happen on its own. You don't just walk into the gym and walk in front of the bench press and you get stronger.
mm,
You have to do bench press to get stronger. If you want to become a better runner, you go run.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I pose the question, how do you become a better human being? Right?
Hmm.
Because you're here, but it didn't take you any effort to be here. You were already here. This world that you live
mm,
in is your gym. This is your weight room. And there's exercises that you can do to get stronger in certain aspects of your life. You want to learn, maybe you want to learn how to manage your anger better. Maybe you want to learn how to manage your sadness. Maybe you want to learn how to be happy, be more supportive, be less self-centered. You have to give yourself an exercise that's going to work that muscle. It doesn't just happen on its own. It's not enough to just have the good intentions that, um, I just want to be more supportive. I just want to be a better person. I'm just going to go out to the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's just going
mm.
to happen. It has to be intentional. That's one of the things that's really good about counseling. Counseling is a platform in which you can make that process intentional. You sit in front of the stranger and you tell them, I want to work on, I want to work on being a better husband. And so you can spend time talking about it. You come up with a plan, a distinct and active plan, and you work through that plan rather than
Mm,
falling into that phase of complacency that a lot of us fall into where we think it's just going to happen with time. It does not
Mm-hmm.
happen with time.
Right.
Becoming a better person does not happen with time. Your only gem for that, well, counseling is a gem for that, but of
yeah.
course in different ways. For some people, it might be journaling.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you have a journal and you just write and you stick to it every week or every day or whatever it is. You stick to
But the
it.
journalers, they need to be real, because sometimes these people write from the person that they think that other people know them to be, instead
Right.
of their real and true, you know, feelings. And I found that out.
Keep on
Yeah,
honest.
with my
Hmm.
friend. Yeah, just be honest. Yeah.
Your
Things you
chances are
can do
much
for
better as
yourself.
long as your chances are much better as long as you do something. Nothing
Yeah.
is not an option to become a better human being. I don't care who you
Yeah.
are.
Yeah. Nick, what would be your advice?
Um, my advice is to open up. I'd say open up and share things. Just as we spoke about earlier, the more you share, the more you're gonna learn. You know, you can't pour water into a glass with a lid, you know? You have to open up and receive things. This is the only way you can heal. And you also find out things about yourself. Like I never knew, I like traveling because I would always just stay at home and do whatever I thought I was supposed to do with my life, right? And the first time I got on the plane, I was like, wow, I love this. And I could see different cultures and the way people live. And then I'm every month,
Yeah.
I'm somewhere on the plane because you just don't know. But you have to be vulnerable and open up and you have to be honest. That's what I was saying about the journalers because I had a friend back in the day. They used to write in this journal and she was like, well, read this and tell me what you think. And I'm like, this is bullshit. You know,
Right.
it's not, yeah, it's not realistic.
Mm,
You're writing what, because you think someone's going to find this book and think bad things of you. And you need to go back, and write what you really feel and keep it private,
yeah.
put it somewhere, somewhere that only you would know, or like, give it to a friend to keep for you. So it's not in your home, someone you trust, not to dabble in your things, but just make sure you're being open and honest. That's the first thing, and that's the only advice I have is just to be open and vulnerable in that whatever you go through in life.
Yeah. Absolutely. Guys, I want to say a huge, huge thank you to my guests. Intrigued by Neek, please go and follow her. Show her all the love. Check out her depression video. She goes into depth with her story and what she dealt with, even more than she did tonight. So please do go and check out her video and check out her channel. Stacey, thank you so much. Stacey's not a channel holder, but he's an expert at this. See, guys, I
What
call him
Shanita
expert. I be backing it up. But let me
Let's
just
plug
say,
let's plug Shanita.
right, I was about to say, but I'm gonna just say, okay, I gotta give a hand out to my girl, Shanita Marie
Mhm.
Randomly. This is her partner. Please go and check out her channel because she was the one when we was talking about topics and stuff. She was the one that kind of offered his services. Sorry,
Nice.
but that's what I'm saying. You don't even know who you're gonna come across here on the web, but thank you, Stacey, for taking time out of your day and your evening to come and share your knowledge and expertise in this topic. It's always good to have an expert
Yes.
that deals with this, as well as us two that have dealt with it or dealing with it, and then to have an expert come in to talk about it from that side as well. I really appreciate it. Guys, as channel holders, we have so much responsibility being on social media. And I think we need to look at our platforms as something bigger than ourselves, something
Hmm.
that can help someone else. So be mindful of the content that you are putting out because you don't know who or what effect it's going to have on somebody else's life and how much they're going to get out of it. So just keep being a voice, keep shining, guys. You're all doing an amazing job. I really appreciate every single one of you channel holders in here. You guys
Yeah.
are amazing. We're going to get through this. We're going to hold each other up and hold each other accountable. And you guys know, you guys know how to contact me. You can contact me on Instagram or you can contact me on here if you want to talk. That's perfectly fine with
Mhm.
me. I am open to it. Um, I love you guys. I hope you all have a great evening. Don't forget to come back on Sunday for open panel night. I cannot wait with Battle of the Sexes.
What time is that?
It's at 6 p.m. Eastern time. So for us, it's 5 p.m.
Girl, I'll be at the day parties. I'll be drunk. I
Girl,
can't.
it's okay. Whenever you finish, we still there. We always
Okay.
still there. So whenever you decide
Okay.
to come on in. Okay, guys.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Have a great evening. Don't forget to check out Donizi tomorrow night for his live and My Life is Nia for her video premiere tomorrow at
Yeah.
4 p.m. Correct. Okay. Love you
All
guys.
right.
See you
Bye.
later. Bye.
Bye.
Peace, y'all.